Let's rewind the clock. Now, I mean way back, before palaces, before kings, even before a single word was ever written down, a story was already being told on the Indian subcontinent. And it's a story written not in ink, but in stone. Today, we're going to learn how to read it.
And when we talk about this story, I want you to forget a few thousand years. We are exploring a history that stretches back hundreds of thousands of years. So how do we even begin to piece together a puzzle that old?
You know, every great detective story starts with a single clue. For India's prehistory, that clue was found way back in 1863. A geologist named Robert Bruce Foote was working near modern-day Chennai, and he found a Paleolithic hand axe. It might look simple, but this one stone tool was literally the key that unlocked an unimaginably deep past, and it earned him the title, the father of Indian prehistory.
That single axe basically opened a doorway to the very first era of human existence on the subcontinent, the Old Stone Age. So, what was life actually like in this world of hunter-gatherers?
This is what we call the Paleolithic period, or Old Stone Age. And just look at that timeline. This isn't a few generations we're talking about. It's a vast, vast stretch of time, lasting for nearly 500,000 years. It was an era defined by one thing, really, the struggle for survival in a world dominated by the last ice age.
Life was constantly on the move. Paleolithic people were nomadic hunter-gatherers, which means they were always following herds of animals and the changing seasons. They'd find shelter in caves, sure, or just live out in the open, relying on these rough, unpolished stone tools for pretty much everything. Forget about permanent villages or farms or even pottery. This was a world stripped down to the absolute basics of survival.
So, how did they make these essential tools? Well, it was all about brute, yet pretty controlled force. The main technique was what we call direct percussion, basically striking one stone against another to chip off sharp flakes. And the result? These crude but really effective heavy-duty tools like hand axes and choppers, which were perfect for butchering animals or digging up roots.
Now, if you want a real window into this ancient world, you have to go to the Bhimbetka rock shelters. This UNESCO World Heritage Site gives us one of the most incredible glimpses into the lives of these early humans. It's so much more than just a shelter. It's like a history book written on stone.
Why? Because on these walls, they painted their world. And these aren't just random doodles, they are vivid scenes of daily life. You can see hunting, dancing, gathering food. This is the very first evidence we have of art, of culture, of symbolic thought in India. It tells us these people weren't just surviving. They were communicating, and they were making sense of their world.
So, for hundreds of thousands of years, life kind of continued this way. But then the world itself began to change. The Great Ice Age started to end, and as the environment transformed, well, so did humanity.
This brings us to the Mesolithic, or Middle Stone Age, and this was such a critical transitional period. As the glaciers retreated and the climate got warmer and drier, humans had to find new ways to live. Adaptation became the name of the game.
And that adaptation led to a huge technological breakthrough, microliths. Seriously, forget the big, clunky choppers of the Old Stone Age. These were tiny, sharp, and incredibly versatile stone tools, a genuine game changer.
This leap in skill was made possible by a whole new technique. Instead of brute force, Mesolithic people used something called pressure flaking, applying precise controlled pressure to pop off these small, sharp flakes. These could then be used as arrowheads or combined to make more complex tools like sickles. It was a fundamental shift from just power to precision.
This new technology allowed for a more settled life. But the biggest transformation in human history was still yet to come. It was a change so profound, we are still living with its consequences today. This was the dawn of farming.
Welcome to the Neolithic period, the New Stone Age. And it's not just another era, it's called the Neolithic Revolution for a really good reason. This is the moment humanity stopped simply finding food and started making it. This was the monumental shift from being consumers to producers.
And the change was absolute. The nomadic hunter became the settled farmer. Chasing wild animals was replaced by herding domesticated ones. This single shift would change everything, from where we live, to what we eat, to the very structure of our societies.
The technology evolved too, of course. Neolithic toolmaking introduced grinding and polishing. So after flaking a tool into a basic shape, they would then grind it against a surface like sand and water.
This created these incredibly durable, smooth, and sharp axes and celts, which were perfect for clearing forests and tilling the land.
But how do we know all this? Well, archaeologists look for places that act like time capsules. And the Balon Valley in Uttar Pradesh is a perfect example. It's often called a prehistoric textbook because it shows this continuous record of human life, from the Paleolithic right through the Neolithic, all layered neatly in one location.
And the lessons from Balon Valley are profound. Archaeologists there have found evidence of mud brick houses, the bones of domesticated animals like cattle and sheep, and, this is a big one, some of the earliest evidence for rice cultivation in the entire subcontinent. It's the whole Neolithic package, all in one place. But to see just how advanced these early villages could be, we need to look at our star witness, Mehrgarh. Located in modern-day Pakistan, this is one of the most important Neolithic sites in the entire world. Just let that sink in. People were living in a settled agricultural village here around 9,000 years ago. This pushes back the timeline of civilization in South Asia so dramatically. The level of sophistication here is just astonishing. People lived in multi-roomed mud brick houses, and some were even designed to store surplus grain. They cultivated barley and wheat. And get this, Mehrgarh contains the world's earliest known evidence of cotton cultivation. Absolutely incredible. So you see, these weren't just isolated developments. Every single innovation of the Neolithic, agriculture, permanent villages, new technologies, was a foundation stone, laying the groundwork for something much, much bigger. And this quote makes that connection explicit. The skills, the organization, the agricultural knowledge that was developed in villages like Mehrgarh, it didn't just disappear. No, it evolved, and it paved the way for one of the world's great ancient civilizations, the Harappan or Indus Valley civilization. You see, the Stone Age set the stage for everything that followed. The simple act of planting a seed led to villages, which led to cities, which led to the complex world we all live in today. So the question to leave you with is this: what part of that ancient revolution do you still see around you? The answer might be everything.